There exists a subtle language, one not spoken with words, but conveyed through silence, insinuation, and control. Those who master it don't seek power outright. They shape it effortlessly. Think your thoughts are truly yours. Think again. Someone planted them, constructed the invisible walls around your beliefs, and handed you just enough freedom to believe you chose them yourself. This is dark influence, not mere persuasion or charm, but domination through quiet suggestion. This power leaves no footprints. It's the kind that Machiavelli studied, honed, and passed down to those ruthless enough to wield it. It's not about winning approval, but about becoming untouchable. It's not about convincing others. It's about crafting a world where obedience happens naturally, unnoticed. If your aim is to be feared, control the decisions people make. If you want respect, control how you're perceived. But to be truly dangerous, control reality itself. This isn't a self-help guide. It's a weapon. Learn it, master it, and no one will ever anticipate your moves. True power is invisible. It doesn't flaunt crowns or thrones. It whispers secrets into the ears of those who wear them. This influence is far more potent than authority. Centuries ago, Machiavelli recognized this. Force breeds resistance, but influence fosters obedience without conflict. You don't need to shout or threaten. You simply reshape perception and watch as people willingly follow the path you've laid out. Dark influence thrives in the illusion of choice. People like to believe they decide rationally, but they don't. They act on emotions, status, fears, and secret desires. The manipulator targets these triggers, one by one, until their victim begs for a fate already decided. Rule 1. Master perception. Shape reality before they know it. Influence begins with careful observation. To direct others, you must first understand them, not their words but their actions and patterns. What do they yearn for? What do they fear losing? Whose approval do they chase? The manipulator doesn't waste energy convincing everyone. He focuses on the insecure, the ambitious, the eager to please, for they are the easiest to sway. The battleground is emotional. Victory comes from spotting vulnerabilities and quietly widening them. Appeal to desire, not logic. Reason rarely wins the day. Why? Because people don't want to be right, they want to feel right. A master manipulator bypasses the rational mind and speaks directly to the gut, presenting ideas as opportunities to satisfy hidden cravings, rather than mere suggestions. A truly dangerous manipulator is never truly recognized for what they are. The instant your target becomes aware of your aims, the game ends. They prepare defenses, resist, and you find yourself fighting an uphill battle. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone else. True power is never flaunted. It thrives in secrecy. A visible objective invites opposition. A concealed one moves undetected. No one defends against a threat they cannot perceive. That's why the most cunning manipulators veil their intentions with layers of deception. They behave passively while scheming, feign loyalty while betraying, and play the fool while executing precise plans. Their genius is in the act. Blinded by arrogance and eager to trust appearances, most people fall for this trick repeatedly. You don't need to shout for power when everyone believes you're harmless. They hand it to you willingly. Defenses drop, secrets spill to you that even allies wouldn't reveal, simply because no one suspects you're playing the game. But you are silently relentless. The illusion is your greatest weapon. To wield influence, you must master the art of masks. Speak with calm assurance, act with measured patience, and let others think they've discovered your flaws. Feed them just enough truth to sell your deception. Disarm them with vulnerability. Pretend doubt, feign hesitation, act confused. Then when the moment demands, strike decisively. Misdirection is your armor. While attention is fixed on your left hand, your right hand quietly builds an empire. Let them focus on your distractions while your true plan unfolds unseen. Don't simply hide your aims. Replace them with false ones. Chase trivial goals as your real prize slips silently into your grasp. No one guards what they believe you don't desire. Emotion is yet another useful disguise. People trust those who seem vulnerable. If you appear overwhelmed, impulsive, or naive, they'll never suspect the precision behind your moves. They'll assume your actions are spontaneous, not strategic, and that assumption gives you total control. Even setbacks can be weapons. Losing intentionally, hesitating deliberately, making small mistakes, these create a facade of imperfection. Imperfection comforts those who fear being outmaneuvered. You lull them into complacency. Then, when they finally look away, you own the whole board. Let others chat. Let them explain, justify, accuse, confess. Your silence compels them to do your work. Silence breeds discomfort. Unease forces people to expose themselves. Terrified of empty space, they fill it with emotion, oversharing weakness. There you gather every secret needed to dominate them. You never push, you never coerce. You simply allow their assumptions to settle, their trust to grow, their guard to drop until they don't just trust you. They believe you're incapable of manipulation. That is your victory, not by overpowering them, but by never letting them feel at war. When the time comes to act, don't announce your moves. Don't negotiate or explain. Just strike. Let them discover what you've done, only after it's too late to stop. Let the trap snap shut and see their surprise. That is manipulation's perfection. Not just hidden strength, but unexpected force. Not just deception, but invisible strategy. People only fear what they see, so remain unseen, unheard, unread. And when the moment arrives, make them regret ever underestimating you. Control the story, and you control the mind. The one who controls minds never lifts a weapon. Power does not start with action. It begins with silence. Everything begins with perception. What people believe directs their actions, stirs their emotions, fuels their conflicts, and ultimately determines whom they submit to. That's why the most formidable manipulators never waste breath on arguments, pleas, or debates. They reshape reality itself. They filter what others absorb. They twist what others see. Piece by piece, thought by thought, they construct a world where their dominance feels natural, inevitable, even rightful. Rule 2: appeal to desire, not logic. Speak to what moves them. Machiavelli grasped this truth better than anyone. People don't crave the raw truth. They seek a version that shields their ego, confirms their deepest fears, or flatters their secret hopes. So give them exactly that. Serve illusions spun with just enough honesty to feel genuine. A manipulator doesn't rely on facts. He trades in certainty. He becomes the loudest voice in the room, the first whisper to echo, the phrase repeated most often. Once he claims that space, others begin adopting his words as their own. They defend his falsehoods with fervor, as if they were sacred. Intelligence doesn't save them. Control the information they receive, and you control the result. You don't have to instruct people what to think. You simply guide what reaches their minds. Information is a battlefield. Yet most are too complacent to question what they're told. They accept the earliest narrative they encounter and cling to it fiercely, flaws and all. This is where your power takes root. Being the first to define the story, you become the origin, the source of authority. Once people link your name with clarity, explanation, and certainty, doubt disappears. That is influence in its purest form. But don't stop at controlling their knowledge. Command how they feel about it. Attach your adversaries to discomfort, disorder, disgrace. Bind yourself to calm, order, and protection. Reputation is a currency that transcends truth. Your words gain weight, not because they are factual, but because people believe you possess the right to speak them. Reputation can be carefully built, brick by brick, encounter by encounter, until your voice becomes law in their minds. At that point, persuasion fades, suggestion reigns, a look transforms into an order, Silence shifts into a warning. A single word becomes a weapon. Sentences need not be finished. Others will instinctively complete them exactly as you intended. This is the realm of invisible power. It doesn't move on facts but on frameworks. You implant belief systems. You craft the lenses through which they observe the world. When their vision belongs to you, their loyalty follows willingly. Most never recognize they're being swayed. They believe they think freely. Yet their language, values, fears, and even resistance have been meticulously planted by design. Your goal is never to force obedience. Instead, create a reality where they depend on you, where breaking free from your influence would plunge them into chaos. They will cling to you, not out of weakness, but because they see you as the sole anchor amidst the storm. That is when your dominion becomes unshakable. You no longer have to manipulate actively. You have programmed them to do it themselves. They police their own thoughts to stay loyal to the worldview you crafted. They become your enforcers, correcting others in your name, justifying your actions, shielding your deception. You transcend being just a person. You become an idea, a necessity they cannot live without. This is the ultimate phase of influence. No longer persuading isolated minds, but commanding entire systems of belief. And once those systems are under your control, you wield total power. The greatest manipulators never engage in direct combat. They spare themselves the conflict. Instead, they deploy others, loyal, oblivious, and expendable, as weapons in their play. Real influence is measured not by how many submit to you, but by how many enact your will, thinking it was their own. Rule 3. Disappear your ego. Influence from the shadows. This is the genius of dark influence. You remain hidden in the shadows. While your adversaries are dismantled by those unaware, they serve you. Machiavelli grasped this fully, not merely encouraging rulers to be clever, but teaching them to govern through proxies. When your hands are clean, your power is invisible and unassailable. You are not the threat. You are the ghost guiding every move, every word, every betrayal. This is how you multiply yourself, without risk. You don't just dominate individuals. You implant your very thinking within them. Then you step aside and watch them act it out. Every ambitious man craves a cause. Every desperate woman seeks purpose. Every uncertain mind longs for validation. And if you are ruthless enough, you become the supplier of all these needs. You don't plead for their service. You engineer their desires so that serving you feels like fulfilling their own fate. Give them enemies. Ignite conflict. Seed ideas that rationalize aggression on your behalf. Make them believe they fight for themselves, for justice, for loyalty, when in reality they are pawns bleeding for your silent gain. And when the final blow lands, when your rival is toppled and shamed, you won't be anywhere near the chaos. You'll be the one they turn to, tears in their eyes, begging for order. You'll be the peacemaker, the savior, while being the mastermind behind their ruin. This is the art of manipulation that builds empires, not through brute force, but through flawless orchestration. Most crave leadership, yet detest being mere tools, so you never let them glimpse the truth of their role. Instead, you flatter them, make them feel chosen, elevated. You offer them choices, each carefully crafted, so that no matter what they select, the outcome still bends to your will. They believe themselves rebels, visionaries, heroes, but you see the reality. They are weapons, and weapons do not question the hand that wields them. You can even transform your enemies into instruments. Those who oppose you often do far more to spread your legend than your own followers. Harness their fury. Let them fixate on you, exposing their own weaknesses, while thinking they expose yours. Their hatred becomes free publicity, feeding your influence. That is true mastery. When the pieces crumble, alliances fracture, and pawns burn out, you simply withdraw, vanish from the narrative. Let them fight over the ruins, while you have already moved on, setting up the next game, assembling the next pawn, igniting the next war carried out in your name. A true manipulator is never addicted to the spotlight. He thrives on leverage. He speaks sparingly, acts subtly, watching as others scramble to interpret his silence. He never explains, never defends, never reveals the breadth of his control, because the best manipulation never feels like manipulation. It feels like destiny, freedom, or unquestionable truth. You don't command by force. You command by making others feel powerful even as they serve your purpose. And when they finally recognize the extent of your design, if they ever do, it's already too late. Their loyalty has morphed into dependence. Their independence, rewired into obedience. And you, the invisible hand, remain untouched, undisputed, and unknown. Manipulation is no art of emotion. It is an art of control, and control demands detachment. The moment you let feelings sway your choices, the game slips away. You become reactive, predictable. The true manipulator, the dangerous one, is emotionally silent, not because he lacks feeling, but because he refuses to let it rule him. Machiavelli understood this clearly. He did not preach sentimental leadership. He preached result. A ruler who acts out of pity will be devoured by those without it. One who hesitates for love, friendship, guilt, or fear is already shackled by the influence of others. You must extinguish the need to please, abandon the longing to be understood, crush the impulse to justify yourself. Every time you explain, you hand others control over your story. Let them misunderstand you. Let them judge. Their opinions don't matter. What counts is what happens, and whether it advances your agenda. Rule 4. Observe and decode. Turn every interaction into intel. This is the trap where many manipulators falter. They get emotionally attached to their pawns. They grow soft toward weakness. They forget that those they've empowered may one day resent their chains and seek to break free. Never let kindness become your shackle. You're not here to be liked. You're here to shape realities. That demands brutal clarity. No emotions, no loyalties, no distractions. Only the cold calculus of what succeeds and what must be eliminated. And yes, that includes people. You may raise someone up, train them, grant them power. But the moment they turn into liabilities, sever ties decisively, without hesitation, without remorse. Sentimentality has no place in strategy. The longer you delay cutting loose what endangers you, the greater the damage and the cost of repair. Become the kind of figure respected for what you withhold. Your silence is a warning, your absence, a source of dread, and your arrival, a sentence passed, not a bomb offered. To reach this height of influence, discipline is essential. Retrain your instincts. The true manipulator never reacts emotionally to betrayal, praise, or threats. Instead, he calculates. When attacked, don't retaliate immediately. Let your adversaries reveal their intentions fully. Let them overreach. Then, when they are exposed and vulnerable, annihilate them completely. Not for vengeance, but to set a precedent. Because manipulation is more than control. It is reputation, and the most formidable reputation is one of silent, unrelenting ruthlessness. Let all know you are neither to be toyed with, nor provoked. And when you decide to strike, there will be no second chances. This aura isn't born from violence. It is forged in restraint, from standing unmoved while others beg for mercy. Emotional distance is your ultimate weapon. It makes you the calm eye in the storm, the still hand amid chaos, the last mover who always claims victory. Most are slaves to impulse, arguing, weeping, panicking, chasing. They mistake emotion for strength. You know the truth. Emotion is a leash. Once severed, you are free. Now you play the long game. You move others without being moved yourself. You sacrifice anything, anyone, without hesitation or regret. This is how kings are forged in shadows. Not through popularity, but through precision. Not with kindness, but with unwavering clarity. The manipulator who sheds emotion becomes something beyond influence or fear. He becomes untouchable. By now you grasp this fully. Influence isn't the loudest roar. It's the quiet echo that lingers in minds long after you vanish. Rule 5. Play the long game. Think several moves ahead. You've mastered manipulation through framing, not force, through design, not pleading, through absence, not exposure. You plant ideas with invisible fingerprints. You wield others as weapons while remaining untouched. You govern perception and reality by controlling the flow of information. You veil ambition behind masks of innocence, of weakness. And above all, you act without emotion. Because emotion is a chain, and you are the one holding the leash. This transcends manipulation. This is architecture. You no longer react to the world. You build it. Those around you believe they make their own choices. But every path leads to you. They trust you, follow you, defend you, unaware that their beliefs have been shaped by your hand since the very start. This is power in its purest form. You don't chase it. You don't declare it. You become indispensable. The immovable pillar on which the entire system depends. That is when you become untouchable. At this stage, you no longer need to manipulate, because you have already reprogrammed the environment itself. Your influence has become the culture, your agenda accepted as truth, and your control absolute and permanent. This is the lesson Machiavelli taught, not about morality or popularity, but about raw victory. In the end, the game of power is not won by those who claim to be right. It is won by those who define what right even means. If you've reached this point and this message stirs something within you, a coldness, a calculation, an ambition, then you are not like the rest. You are not destined to follow. You are meant to rule, but not openly, not on any stage. You rule from silence, from the shadows, from the very space between their choices, where your influence already reigns unseen. So remember this: speak less, observe more, pull strings, erase your fingerprints, and when they finally become aware of you, it will already be too late. If this message has awakened something dark inside you, that's good. You are seeing the world as it truly is, and clarity is the first step toward domination. No teachings here for motivation, only mastery. If you recognize power when you see it, then show it by liking this video. Not because you were asked, but because you understand. And when the next lesson arrives, be ready. The game never ends.